So let's talk a little bit about pitch counts, maybe preseason, middle, and after, and just kind of give an idea of what you do and your progression with it, and then suggestions for youth.
You know, with my progression, I obviously as a grown man and an athlete has been doing it for a while. In the beginning, you got to start small. There's always got to be a rest period. Like I'll just start from spring training to spring training. From spring training, we start small. You start playing catch from 60 feet, maybe 50 throws a day. Then you go to 90, and a couple. Then you take a day off, then go to 90. Take another day off, go back to 60. Then the next day you go to 90. And then as the month goes on, you start moving back 60 feet, 90 feet, 120, 150, 180, 200. You get about to 200, you start throwing bullpens, 20 pitches, all fastballs and changeups. 25 pitch, next one, 25 pitches, fastballs and changeups. Third one, 30 pitches, throw a couple breaking balls. Next, keep doing it, 30, 35 pitches, and if you're going to be a starter, throw a couple more, 40, 45, and then you go to spring training. Go to spring training, then they'll do the same thing. We'll start over. Then you start throwing games, game count, throwing innings, maybe 2, rest, couple, 5 days, go back out, throw 2, 3 innings, rest. That's how spring training is. That's why it takes 6 weeks, 7 weeks to get guys through spring training. It's all because of the pitchers usually. Then as the season goes, we always had a pitch count, 5 innings, 100 pitches. As the season went, middle of the season, you can start expanding. I mean, as a rule of thumb, they never want guys to go over 100 pitches. They start getting around 90, 100 pitches, they yank them nowadays. But, like, you see it with young guys in the big leagues still. Like, what's his name from the Nationals? Strasburg. They have hit him on pitch count and stuff because it's just, it becomes a long season. Baseball is not a sprint, it's a marathon because you're playing from February to October if you're playing in the World Series. It's ridiculous. So the middle, that's where you're freshest, but you're still probably at 100 pitch count. Towards the end of the season, they start cutting your innings again, and then the off season, you take a little bit time off, a month, whatever, and then you start back over from 60 feet, start back over. That's kind of like the professional and college level. With kids, you kind of just gotta listen to kids, because when you're a kid, when I was a kid, I could throw all day, every day. I made some stupid mistakes. I remember in high school, I threw 7 innings for a district game, and then I closed 4 hours later and threw another 3 innings, which should never happen. But you feel like you could throw because, one, your muscles aren't built up, you're not a grown man yet, so you feel loose all the time. But your tendons aren't fully developed either. Your tendons are still going to take the stress. So what you want to do for kids is you still want to start with a progression. Say it's January and your season's like for us, the season's in April. Just start small. Get them outside, throw 60 feet, take a day off. Kind of like what I was talking about. When it comes to the bullpen, same idea, 20 pitches, 25. Now, depending on the age of the kid, I mean, if it's a high school kid, he could probably throw 80 to 90 pitches in a game when he's in the middle of the season. But the rule of thumb, 100 pitches for like high school level guys, especially elite high school guys, junior, senior age. 100 pitches, still shouldn't go above that. Pro guys aren't going above 100 pitches. I don't think high school kids should be throwing 140 pitches in a game. When it comes to like little league and stuff, I mean, 50, 60 would be like my range for like teams, especially if they're not getting 5 days of rest. If they're gonna throw 50 pitches and then throw again 2 days later, they need to throw less. They need to throw 30 and then a day off and then try it again. But if they're throwing 60 pitches, they probably need those at least 4 days of rest in between each start. Let's see. Any questions on pitch count for that?
So so you got a pitcher that you're resting for 4 or 5 days. Are they still doing soft toss?
Oh yeah, they're playing
Okay.
catch every day.
Okay.
But just the strain of being on a mound.
Just not a full speed
Yeah,
pitch.
yeah. I mean, again, those are the days we talked about the changeup. Those are the days every day. You play catch every day. Like pro ball, play catch. Now they come up to you and they say, "Man, I'm out. Like, coach, my arm's hurting." Give them a day. Now, if they say they're sore, great. If they say like they have a pain in their elbow or a joint, then you probably got issues. But if they're like, my muscles are sore.
And you can
fine.
still do the mechanics drills without
Yeah.
throwing
Oh yeah.
balls.
I mean, that stuff like with the towel drill and stuff, that's very low. Like, I can't think of the word for it, but I mean, it's not gonna stress your body a lot. Low impact, it's very low impact, so you gotta take those days off and just kinda, especially at that level, they need a lot of drills anyway, because they need the foundation.
So what's great about this age, I think too, and what we really try to preach is have it, you know, baseball in general, there's a lot of games, there's a lot of career. So just trying to be cognizant as a youth coach of not playing just for the moment. You got your championship games and those are important, but we see it year after year, day after day, and how many kids are ruined or sick of the game by the time they get to the point where it really counts. And those could be the kids that have the best makeup, have the best chance to go on and fulfill their dream of playing future. So again, with Eric and our conversation, I mean, it's down to a science, what he eats, what he goes in his body during season, how he conducts himself. You know, throwing a pen one day, and Brett, I'm not touching a baseball for any demos, you know. So it's down to a science. So I guess moving on, and you kind of touched on warm-up and progression. I don't know if you want to add anything to that about pregame, or if you want to quickly explain, you know, pregame for a start, pregame for a bullpen, and maybe for a Little League day, how they can best prepare their arms so they're not going in cold.
Again, anytime you're gonna get ready, I'd probably say it's the same Little League all the way up. You're gonna stretch, you're gonna run, get the blood flow going. You're gonna play catch close, and you're gonna expand out. Then they'll bring a catcher out, still throw on the catch a little bit. Then you get on the mound, throw your warm-ups off the mound, and then you go into the game. I mean, that's the progression it takes. That's gonna be from the Little League level, because you just can't pick up a baseball, go on the mound, and start a game. You know, it's just, you can't do it. One, you're not gonna build strength that way, and two, you're gonna get people hurt. So all you do is, again, start small, work your way up. That's probably the best way. Each person's body's somewhat different, especially kids. You know, I know kids are sometimes hard to deal with because they'll be sore, they'll think something's worse than it might be. But start small, listen to them, and then work your way up.
So that's easy to do at you know, 10, 11-year-old level with your starting pitcher. But you've got another guy coming in 2 innings later that's playing in the outfield at first base or something like that.
Yeah, again, like what I would suggest, especially for that, is like, don't bring them in cold from the outfield. They do play catch with the outfielders a lot, they play catch, but just, yeah, I know it's hard in Little League because you probably want to bring them right in, but a suggestion would be like, take them off to the side, let them play catch off to the side. Like, say you're in there, that it's your turn at bat, and you think he's going to go in the next inning, be like, hey, you know, grab someone on the bench or grab a catcher and go play catch. You might go in the next inning. Get them warm that way. You know, get the catcher down. You can even do a flat ground a little bit and have them get kind of ready to go in the game. And then if you do start the inning with the old pitcher and he's out in the outfield, at least he's had a warm up. You can bring him in and he's not cold.
Another thing you can do with that is usually you go out there, you talk to the guy before you pull him out off the mound. You know usually you know when you're walking out there you're going to be doing it. Before you go out, grab someone and say, go out and throw with this kid. Just go out and start throwing. You go out, you just talk to him for a second, tell him, give him a little feedback on what the day was, and then that gives him just that little bit of throwing, just to warm up the arm.
I mean, you're going to get better results that way too. Because a kid coming in cold is not going to have the velocity and he's not going to have the accuracy. So if you're trying to win a game, giving him time to warm up is going to help you in the long run anyway.
I have a question concerning talking about warm and cold. How warm does it need to be outside? I mean, finding a place to be throwing in Baltimore is not easy.
No, I totally agree with you, and I grew up in Michigan, so I know exactly the problem.
Yeah.
You know how it is, when you're moving around, it's a lot warmer than if you're just standing there. So obviously on cold days, you're just gonna have to throw more to get warm. And it's tough. I mean, even in college days, you remember we had some really cold days, you just kind of got to do a little bit more that day. It might affect you the week later, where you might have to take some more time off, but to get warm, you're just going to have to take your time and try to do it, because you can't win. You have to play baseball outside, and it's a northern state, you're going to be cold. I remember pitching when it was snowing outside. Those are the days, instead of throwing 20 pitches in the bullpen, maybe I had to throw 30 to get warm. That's the only suggestion.
And maybe send it for a run just to get the whole body.
Oh yeah, that's, I mean, obviously the
all that
stretching and stuff,
yeah.
everything becomes a little bit longer because
Okay.
it takes a little bit warmer, or a little bit more to get warm. I mean, nowadays it's a lot better too, because they have all that heat gear, Under Armour and
Mhm.
stuff. Like, it's gotten better because of that stuff. I mean, but
And
that's the
would you-
only thing you can do, really.
Would you suggest that they do some pitching with, jackets on? I mean, is that something, or just with the?
I would suggest long sleeves,
Mhm.
like the Under Armour tight gear, because
Mhm.
you can't really throw, you're gonna mess up your mechanics with a jacket.
Okay.
But the minute they're done throwing, keep them warm, put
Yeah,
jackets
put a jacket
on them,
yeah.
put towels around their neck, wrap their elbows. If you have heat pads, like obviously the professional level, college level, they have heat pads to keep
Mhm.
us warm, to warm up your joints and stuff, but for kids, you're not gonna obviously have that. Put your winter jacket over them, keep them warm. Once they're warm, keep them warm.
Okay. Unless they're done at the end.
Unless they're done, and then
Okay.
still, you don't just like put them out in the elements, put their jacket on, let them slowly cool off.
Throw them in an ice bucket.
Yeah, hey, go ahead, take your shirt off and enjoy the cold weather now, yeah.
Real quick, let's touch on after. So the kid throws or you throw, and let's just go over ice, arm strengthening, and then also let's dispel any myths about flushing and that kind of stuff.
Okay, after the icing for me, I never did it. There's no real, I mean, a lot of people say, well, the swelling, the small and tissues and stuff. I never did it. There's nothing wrong with doing it. A lot of guys do it. A lot of guys, sometimes it's mental or it's like a superstition. I never did it. It's more arm care now, where like you get bands, and after you come out of a game, you work your, like you're working your traps and your, think of the name.
Your
But,
inflection,
lats.
yeah, all
Your
the
lats
flexion,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff, like internal, external rotation. That's the stuff they're doing now as you come out of a game. It's not like, hey, put an ice pack on and sit there. It's internal, external, get 2.5 pound weights, scapula
Mhm.
loading and stuff like that. Those are the exercises that you need to learn. And then once they're done with that, then they can ice if they want to. They don't have to. It's not going to make or break their career. It's not going to kill them either way. But if they want the ice, give it to them. Touching on flushing. A lot of coaches, especially the old school guys that I used to have, you threw the next day, you were sore, you ran for an hour. Long distance running. Now, there's honestly no science behind that helps. All you're gonna do, they say, oh, we're gonna flush the lactic acid out. But in truth, all you're doing is building up more in other parts of the body. So now you're just not sore in your arm, your hamstrings are sore, your back's sore, your calves are sore, your ankles are hurting you, your knees are getting worn out. It's a thing of the past now with all the lifting and all the strength training that we have. What you do want to do as a kid is get them outside the next day, do some sprints, do a workout, but do not, baseball pitching, it's not a long distance thing. You get a ball, you're explosive for 3 seconds, and then you got a 10-second rest and you're explosive again. So a lot of the training should be sprint, quick sprints, explosiveness, walk back. Let's say 30 yards. Sprint 30 yards, 60 yards, walk back, boom, go again. Come back, boom, go again. It's explosive. You're not continually pitching. You're not like, and then keep going. No, it's ball, boom, get the ball back, 10 seconds, boom. Now, as a training exercise, if you send them out to run once in a while, long distance to kind of make sure that they're just in shape in general, that's fine because a lot of oxygen and a lot of anaerobics or aerobic exercises for heart conditions and stuff's good. But for flush, it's not going to make your arm feel better. It's not going to fix it. The only thing that does that is rest. Plain and simple.
And then can we give just a quick demo, internal, external, maybe topical, internal, external?
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
show a few
I don't. You
scapula.
guys have probably seen the bands. If not, I don't have any with me.
Yeah, I didn't bring me down. So we
But
have-
like if this is a weight, or like pretend this is a band, the internal, external, just kind of like squeeze the scaps together, put something underneath this elbow and just in and out. Stiff arm, and you really feel it here, other way, inwards, up here, kind of remember, how this was the throwing motion, same thing with the bands, up here, and you'll feel it back there.
when he says squeeze the scaps, you can tell kids like you're squeezing a penny between your shoulders.
Yeah, like the shoulder blades, yeah. Then you can take, even at like my age, I still only use like 2.5 to 5 pound weights max, and the same thing just with the weights up here, down, squeezing those scapulas, out front. And that's what they're doing with the arm care now. They're not just, hey, you're done, go ice, you know, whatever. Sit there and watch TV. You gotta get out of the game, you gotta do your shoulder care. Sometimes they'll bike, and then that's it.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, I think about 5 minutes we're good for. If anyone has any other questions or thoughts, with the opportunity to Eric here, and then you know, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So I'll open the floor one more time. If anybody has any other thoughts or questions, anything popping up.
About like mental preparation. I mean, baseball is a very mental
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Pitching is the worst.
It's a chess game.
I mean, my kid pitches, he's a lefty, and he's only like 9, he's pretty good, but I'm always concerned about the mental aspect, because you can get off the game pretty easy, and then he's gotta come in and he's gotta bat.
Yep.
So you gotta keep your head clear, and it's always tricky to figure out how to work that and what to tell them.
Well, is there a specific example that you can kind of?
You know, like he's doing pretty well, he's got a couple strikeouts, a tight game, and then, you know, they hit a ground ball, goes through somebody's legs, it hits on base, and he'll get mad.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And it's natural, you know, like you should have caught that, like,
But
real
here's
well
the
tight.
only thing I can suggest for that is, one, it's a team sport. As much as you think you're in control on the mound, and we all get like that at times, the point of the game is to throw it where you can. I can make the perfect pitch with the nastiest break and the best stuff I got, and the guy could launch it over the foul pole, or like over the fence. That's part of the game. That's gonna happen. The problem with, it sounds like your son, and I'm the same way, pitchers tend to be perfectionists. We do, and you can't be. So when you can't achieve that perfection, you get frustrated. Because even if I execute the perfect pitch, that should get a guy out. One, the umpire might miss it. Two, the guy could still hit it and squeeze it. Could hit a rock. I've seen balls hit rocks, go over guys' heads, and it's a triple. And I'm like, what the? Like, this is professional level baseball on fields, and stuff like that happens. There's just no, you can't control everything. Control what you can, pitch by pitch, and now move on from that. That's over with, and just focus with what's in front of you. Because the thing that you tell him is damage control. Because if he's angry about giving up one hit between a guy's legs, he'll be really angry if he really lets it get to him and he lets 3 runs in because he walked guys or starts serving it down the